coming. Hey, everybody. Welcome for another episode of Lunch Therapy.
It's so slow. It's lagging. Is it mine? Yeah, but it could be mine.
So I'm here. It's Lunch Therapy. It's another episode of Lunch Therapy. And I'm so glad to be here and so glad to see you all. I don't see you at all, but I'm here, and you see yourselves and I see myself, and you see me and I see you TV. So today is a special day. We've got an interview with Cynthia Levin, who is an incredible. Well, I'm going to introduce her in a second, but I wanted to say I have my Steppenwolf shirt on today. This is a theater company in Chicago. A lot of you guys know it. This shirt used to be black. It also used to be a tank top. So I wore this shirt in honor because Cynthia is from Chicago. She's a Chicago person. And Steppenwolf is from Chicago. And today also was interesting because the first play that I was cast in Chicago when I was there, I was cast by this director, David Cromer. And David Cromer was a Tony Award-winning director now in New York. And he sent me my headshot. He had found it. I guess he was going through some old stuff or whatever. And so I'm going to bring that on here. There it is. Oh, it just flashed for a second. Yeah, there's my old headshot, which is kind of startling. I had not seen it since then. I don't know what to think about it. I was a little cheruby little fella. And I looked at Paul Rudd's headshot and just, to compare. Here he is now, and there's his. I don't think that's a headshot. I think that's actually his fraternity picture. But he and I are, switching hairdos, I guess. So there it is. So thanks to David Cromer for sending that. It was a real blast from the past. And the past, it's reminding me of the past now because I've got Cynthia on here, and Cynthia is not old. She's not old. Nobody said she was old. She's from Chicago, and she was there probably around when I was there, but even before then. And she's got a lot of stories, and she's been a professional comedian for a long time. She's on the wall at the Comedy Store in Hollywood. She's one of the comedians that's on the wall, which is a big honor. I don't know if you guys have been to the Comedy Store. Comedy Store was started in 1972. It is the vortex of the comedy scene. All the comedians that you ever heard of play at this Comedy Store in Hollywood. And you can see that they, write the names on the walls. And if you're a regular for long enough, you get to be on the wall, which is a big honor. Cynthia is on the wall there. She's my mentor. She's the person that introduced me to comedy, taught me about comedy. It's all her fault. I've got her on the Skype. I'm going to put on the headset. But first, I just want to take a second because this show is about taking a breather from the rest of the world, from the horrors of the world out there. And we got to take some time just for ourselves. And, we have empathy, and a lot of us are going through really difficult things. And it's a stress. It's a stress. So we're going to take a breath. So if you'll just take a breath with me. And then let it out.
Oh, God, let it out.
Then we're going to take in another breath.
Oh.
And let it out. This is very helpful for me as well. Because I get all amped up because there's no audience. There's no immediate audience that is sitting there laughing or whatever. So a lot of times I get kind of amped up, like I have to fill the space with the sound of my voice and pictures of my old headshots. Did I ever show you my old headshot? There it is right there. Yeah. Take a good look at that. I knew that guy. A lot of you knew that guy. I don't know what happened to him. He was cool. There's a little sound there. One more time. Breathe it in. And let it out. Okay, now I'm putting my headset on. We're going in to talk to Cynthia Levin.
Hello.
There she is. Hey.
Can you hear?
I can hear you.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Hello.
Mama, can I see you? Is that, I don't know what that's from. Age of Aquarius, perhaps? No, it's from The Who.
So,
Mama, can you hear me? You know that?
oh, yeah, it's from The Who, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Tommy.
Tommy.
Joel.
Yes.
I was going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
So is it, you're taking those deep breaths. Do you have to
Yeah.
take one every time after you look at one of your headshots?
Oh my God, yeah.
Deep
Oh my
breath.
God, it's like a gasp. Like when you jump into really cold water, you just go like that. That's the feeling that I get when I look at that old headshot. Oh my God.
Every time
scary.
I get look at one of my headshots, that's what I have to do.
I had a headshot of yours that I was going to put on that I forgot, but I will make sure that I put it on. It's not an old one, but you're making a face it's like a pouty face.
Oh, I don't know.
It's nice.
I have no idea.
It's super
I don't know
nice.
what I sent you.
It's
I've had so many headshots taken, Joel. One by your wife, Kamala.
Yeah.
Because I really, you've got to actually like yourself, and that's a lifelong, excursion. I don't know what the word is, but, and so, I've had a million taken. I've maybe like two in 40 years or so. Yeah.
I have that same problem. I look at them and they're like, you have to pick one. And I'm like, I can't even look at them. I can't even look at them to pick one. How can I pick one? And then I go to other people and I'm like, which one do you think I should use? And they're like, oh, that one. And that's like the one that just makes me cringe.
I know, because sometimes they remind us, like in some of mine, I look like my sister and I'm like, oh my God, I can't, now I'm my sister or I'm my mother. And I don't want to look, I'm trying to be me.
Yeah.
So we get mad at ourselves for a million reasons, and justifiably so, by the way.
Yes, and justifiably so, because we're annoying. I mean, I'm annoying to myself. Yeah. I find myself quite annoying. But the thing with the headshots too is that a lot of times you're trying to portray somebody that's not you. That's what I find.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody who's confident, good looking, and talented.
Right, exactly. So you're trying really hard to be that, and you're just like, I'm really, really falling short. And if you do get one that's like that, then you bring it in. They're like, yeah, you should really get a new headshot. You get something that looks like you.
Everybody always wants a new one. It's incredible.
So painful. Yeah, that's the other thing. Every time you get a new agent, or every time you just even talk to anybody in the industry, that's their first recommendation. I think it's just kind of their go-to recommendation, because nobody knows really what to do in this business, especially now.
Because what?
Nobody really knows what to do. Nobody really knows what to do in this business. Yeah. So they have their go-to things that they say to you, like get a new headshot.
But anyway, let's move forward, because I don't think I could take any more headshot conversations, because I can't stand it. I hate it.
I'm starting to gag, actually.
Wait, Joel, I actually, the night before, every time I get headshots done, since the time I was 17, that was my first 16, I was my first headshots.
Yeah.
Well, basically not then, because I was too unconscious then. But once I started getting conscious, which was when I also started getting miserable.
Yeah.
The night before, my eye would burn, and I would rub my eye all night.
Yeah, yeah,
And it
totally.
would be because I was depressed, but I didn't know it. I just thought, God, there's really something in my eye every night before a headshot or an audition, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so then the next thing for my headshot or audition, right, my one eye would be much smaller than the other one.
Never
In
look in
all
the
my,
mirror.
and I'm not kidding you, one eye was smaller than the other one. Even Kamala saw it last time. She goes, "Oh
Really?
yeah, you look tired, darling."
You should never look in the mirror before you have an audition. That's what I tell myself. You know how people say when you drop acid, don't look in the mirror. My rule is when you're going on an audition, never look in the mirror, especially like in the bathroom just before. That's terrifying. That's terrifying.
Don't do it. But
No,
for me, I
don't do
need to, because when I look at it and I'm like a real, like, I look so scuzzy where everybody else is completely put together. I'm like, I don't need to look in the mirror. I don't need to wear extra makeup.
Exactly.
Yeah, you do, bitch. Yeah, you do.
Never look at the other people in the waiting room either. That's death.
Yeah.
They always look better. They always look better. They always look more put together. Anyway, let's talk. I want to talk about you. Like you.
Okay, great. Something.
Are you from Chicago originally? Is that right?
I'm originally from Chicago. Chicago.
You got the Chicago shirt on too. Nice.
Yeah.
And so what the hell? Did you start doing comedy like right out of high school or something? Or what happened with you?
I moved to Los Angeles when I was 21. Or just turned 22, like a month after I turned 22. Yeah. And then went to New York I was here for a year. It was a sickening time. Moved to New York for a year. Great time. Did a lot of drinking. Had so much fun. And then had to move back because I heard a voice saying, move back to LA, because I think I was really screwing myself up. And, and everybody knows LA is so boring. You can get sober here. So,
wait, and you heard a voice? Did you actually hear a voice?
What?
Do you actually hear a voice?
Yeah, I really did. I heard a voice say, move back to LA.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, when I was on an airplane just to come here, to fly here and then drive to a cross-country trip back to New York with my friend. Yeah. On the plane, like the sun, this like light came in through the window, and I heard a loud voice. It was like a voice that you couldn't be like, shove it. You would be like, okay. You know what I mean? It was that kind of voice. And it would say, move back to LA. And I was like, and I remember going like this, okay, like out loud, And then I had to move back here. Like you can't deny that voice. So yeah, I moved back here and I started therapy and I started doing stand up and I started studying acting at this Meisner studio, and my life started to change. But that's when I started to get conscious, which is, if you don't know, means you're going to be miserable. That's pretty much what conscious means.
You're conscious of your inferiority.
Misery.
Absolute misery.
Because before that, I was unconscious, doing whatever the hell I wanted, and going, I feel like moving here. Yeah, I feel like doing that, and I would do it because I was an idiot, And things worked out, though, at the same time. I mean, I wasn't, I didn't think anybody saw me, though. The only time, like, I really was so unconscious, I didn't think anybody even knew I existed. So I guess that is sort of fun, because then there's no repercussions for anything you do, because nobody saw you, nobody heard you, it didn't matter, right? But the one time I realized I did exist, and this is a true story. I was living in New York, and I was in one of the, after 5 p.m. on a Friday, you have to, I didn't have a bank account, so I had to go to those check cashing places to get my check cashed. Yeah. After my 9 to 5 publishing company job as a secretary who couldn't type. Anyway, I couldn't do anything. But anyway, but they kept me there. But anyway, so I would cash this check, and it was Friday, and I got there just before it was about to close, right? It was just before, and they close at 5, which makes no sense. Anyway, so the doors are shutting behind you, and everybody's in this tiny check cashing place like sardines. And I farted.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
And it's a beer. It was a beer fart. You know what I mean? Which is deadly. In Chicago, we call it the old style blues. Okay,
it's like
that's
a
what we called it in Chicago.
Toxic smell that infests the place and never leaves for hours.
What's that?
It's like a toxic smell that never leaves.
It would be impossible. So what happened was, I was in a queue, and I don't just mean a queue. I mean, we were in there like sardines. Nobody could move one way or another, and I farted. And everybody went, what the hell? Who the hell did that? You got who you gotta be shitting me? Who just did that?
No
Who
way.
fuck? Who the fuck? The whole place was like in an uproar. And I was like, and I, of course, I'm an actress. So I was like, what the fuck, man? Animals, you know?
Yeah.
I was so happy. But it made me so happy because I didn't realize that I could have an effect on anybody, let alone a whole room of people.
Yeah.
It was very empowering. I felt powerful.
That's good. That's a good moment. It's a turning point for you, I guess.
Honestly, I'm not kidding you. You
really?
go from feeling like you don't exist to
powerful.
existing.
All powerful.
I was like, this is fantastic.
I have that same problem. Sometimes what I do is, and it's totally my fault, I would like live in a place, make a bunch of friends, start to kind of get like a career going, and then I just take off. I just move, and I'd never talk to those people again. And then later on, I'd be like, why don't those people call me or whatever? You know, it's like it's their fault or something like that. And then I think that they forgot who I was, like totally forgot. I remember like today, I got that message from David Cromer, who I knew. Yeah, I mean, it was a long time ago. But I was like, well, that guy doesn't remember me. You know, he doesn't know who I am. And today he messages me with my old headshot. And I'm like, oh, like people actually, at one time I was at this screening of a movie, and Gary Marshall was there. And I had known him in Chicago. I had worked on a play that he did. And he, you know, we talked a lot. But I saw him at the movie, which was, you know, decade or so later. And I started to introduce myself and explain who I was. And he was like, Joel, what do you think you think I'm an idiot or something? That I don't know who you are? What is your problem? What is your problem? And, you know, it was at that moment I realized, oh, like people actually maybe might remember me. Like I thought I was invisible.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird how that happens?
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I love Gary.
Yeah, that guy was great.
Yeah.
That guy was a wonderful person.
Amazing. Yeah.
Did you ever work
The
with him?
whole family. Anyway.
Yeah, the whole family was good. Did you ever work with him?
No.
Yeah.
I met Penny Marshall once.
Yeah.
I met Penny Marshall once because my friend was friends with her daughter, and so I went to their house, I guess. But these are early days Los Angeles. I was still relatively unconscious.
Yeah.
Like I was like, you know, whatever.
Right.
And so I was in places like, yeah. So, yeah. It didn't happen, but it did happen. I was there and I did meet her, but you know, I wasn't really there because I wasn't there because I didn't exist.
Well,
still didn't exist.
Were you? Yeah. You're sort of a Penny Marshall type. Do you think?
Yeah, it's funny. I have been in this business for a long time, but I've had no success. I don't know if I told you that. And but anyway, and I just got a new agent, you know, after 74 years, which was really exciting for me.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And I have no idea if they do anything for me, by the way. Yeah. It was just that they got auditions and work for a friend of a friend. And we were like, well, if she can get it, then so can we, you know, like, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, but I go to their audition and it was in this, you know, I opened the door and there was these two big guys, right? Yeah. In a tiny office, which they took up the entire room. I wasn't sure where they wanted me to stand. But anyway, me and this other girl had to do a reading, and, you know, so I was like, oh, tight squeeze. And so anyway, I do my thing, you know, and it was fun and it felt great, whatever. And then one of the guy goes, you're a bit like Penny Marshall. You're like, you're like Penny Marshall. That's who she reminds me of. Yeah. And I was like, thank you. I'll take that. Are you shitting me? Like, I'll fucking be Penny. I love Penny.
I mean, Laverne on Laverne and Shirley. I mean, my God, she was hilarious.
Yeah. People have said that to me throughout my life, you know, here and there. And still haven't, you know, again, it doesn't matter what you're like. You need to do something with it.
You got to capitalize on that. And get it out there. You're being, you're being modest though. You've done a lot. You've been a comedian for a long time. It's how do you maintain being a comedian? Because being a comedian sometimes can be really difficult because you're always going out there and really putting yourself on the line. I mean, I find that the better comedian you are, the more you're putting yourself really like your ass on the line. Do you find that at all?
Yeah, I think that for me, the thing that keeps me going is that it never gets tiring because I mean, it really doesn't ever get tiring because for me, because you're always learning. Like you're never done learning in life anyway, but as a comic, like no situation is ever the same. You know, I've said that before, like no show is ever the same, no audience is the same, no mood that you're in is the same. The situation, the material that you might want to do, what's going on in the world is different. So it's an ever changing thing, and then you learn every time. And I think the hardest thing about being a comic is the decisions you make. So, meaning material. What material am I going to do? How much am I going to buy into this mood I'm in? You know,
Yeah.
is it going to help me to use my mood, or is it going to ruin me to use my space mood? So I think the best thing you could do as a comic, in order to stay consistent, and is to keep working on yourself first of
Right.
all, being in touch with who you are, get in touch with your feelings, so you're not shut down and cut off, and then doing some kind of phoning it in performance. You know.
Yeah.
But don't let it take from you, like, don't let it rule you. Don't let your mood rule you. Don't let it decide whether you're good or not, or whether you're confident or not. Do you know what I mean? So get in
Yeah.
touch with your feelings, get in touch with them, and then move forward. Make fun of it. Don't take yourself too seriously. You
Hmm.
know, be willing to
That's
say
a big
whatever you're
one.
feeling in the moment. What's that?
That's a big one, I think, for everybody, is not to take yourself too seriously. Because you just
Yeah,
run
and
into
because
all kinds of trouble trying to take yourself seriously and trying to put out that headshot version of yourself. You know?
100%. And the truth of you, I think, as an actor and as a comic, is always the answer. Keep using the truth of you, right? As opposed to having shamed around whatever's going on with you. Just use it, like laugh at it, get in touch with it, let yourself feel it becomes less important, you know,
Hmm.
and then you could just, you know, then you can move forward. Believe me, today I had to do a little video for a stand-up show.
Yeah.
Do you really think I wanted to do that?
Well, I saw that Jerry Seinfeld on I don't know, comedians in cars getting coffee or whatever. He said if I ever did comedy just when I felt like it, I probably would never have done comedy. Because like just before you go on a stage, a lot of times you just all of a sudden you're like, I don't feel like it. I feel like I'm in like in a bad mood, or I got in an argument with
Yes,
somebody, or I
yes,
just don't have great self-esteem today, and then you just
exactly.
have to then they call your name, you just got to go up there. And it's
And then you go.
usually,
And everything changes, and
yeah,
typically everything changes. There'll be those times though that that it won't change. You'll
yeah,
go from shit mood
yeah,
to shit mood, off stage to on stage,
yeah,
and then you'll be like, "Fuck me." The clock is running. People are looking at you, and you're like going, "Oh my God, I'm not pulling it out. I'm becoming Jerry Seinfeld." But you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
And so, like, what do? You speak to the truth of it, of the
Hmm.
moment, right then, instead of like trying to force something or pretend something. Use the truth of it, and then go, okay. And if your truth is too dark or too deep,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Then you need to put on a commercial. You need to perform. You need to be able to grab at material that you know that is good, that will work no matter, you know what I mean, that you can just go to and not have to use the moment to save you. Does that make sense?
totally.
And use old material to save you. That's what I'm talking about decisions. Like the thing about being a comic, the hardest thing about being a comic is the decisions you make before and while you are on stage.
Yeah,
And
I had that moment in Portland where I almost got fired, and then I called you that night, and you talked me down, and I had to get back on the horse, and so
yep,
the next day I got back on that stage, and I was the host. I was going to be the host the rest of the weekend, and the host has to be happy. The host doesn't come up there and go, I really feel
and
like
like
hell today. And be like,
that, we're
this
just
is the
so
greatest show
charming,
ever.
like
You're like
yeah,
the ringleader or something. And so, yeah, I had to put on this whole like persona and really kind of just get, even if it meant like running around in a circle before I went on stage or something like that, you just got to get pumped up. So there are those moments where you're like, you don't really want to take you on the stage. I see my friend Cole Aikman is in chat room on Facebook. He was there when and helped me. Cole Aikman. He's a friend of mine from Portland. He and his wife Cheryl were there in Portland with me, and I went to their house, and they kind of helped me, get myself back together. Yeah. But that's the thing about being a comedian. And when I called you and I called a bunch of other people that I knew that were like seasoned comedians, and they were all like, "Oh yeah, that'll happen to you again." So that's one of the things about comedy is you gotta, sometimes you just gotta get yourself back up there.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And I think that if you could look at it as like, this is like, I don't know. I forgot what I was going to say. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter. But 100%. You just have to do it again. And again, it's going to be completely different. And if you can let go of yesterday or the show that you just did an hour ago, be fine. Gotta let it go, because no two shows are ever going to be alike. If you have a good show, you think the next one's going to be just like it. You're wrong, bitch.
Yeah, you're wrong.
It's not.
You know what really is annoying? When comedians get on stage and they're like, "Oh, you guys obviously don't have a sense of humor because they thought this was hilarious last night," and they actually tell the audience that. And you're like, "Why are you doing that? Do you really want to do that?"
And that's a clueless comic. And sometimes being clueless gets them back on the horse really quickly.
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean they're going to be.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh my God. So what do you, how did the thing go this morning? So both of us recorded a thing for Tom Kearney, another comedian here in Los Angeles, is doing a show called Quarantine Comedy. And he did one episode already, and I'll link it in the show notes or whatever. I don't really even know what that means, but I will do it. And cool. It's really funny. And Cynthia and I are going to be in the next one.
Yeah. Tomorrow. Comes out tomorrow.
And you taped it comes out tomorrow? Wow.
Yeah.
So you had to just do your thing and just walk away and not be like a perfectionist about it, I assume.
Well, this is the deal. So what I did was, at first I was trying, listen, this is all about, for me, again, some people are confident from the time they come out of the hole. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
They squirt it out and they're like, "Hey, I could do this,"
Yeah.
I squirted out and I was like, "What the fuck?" And my whole life has been like that. What the fuck? It's been rough up until recently. But today, it's confronting when you want to put yourself on tape, right? And so I'm like curling my hair and, putting some makeup on so I don't look disgusting, and but I realized that I wasn't in touch with myself. Mm-hmm. And then I tried to go and film myself being funny. I was like, and it's a lonely time. I don't want to get into it, but
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, yeah. So it's like, oh, and so then I had to do a meditation. I was supposed to be filming. I was supposed to have sent it in already, but I was like, I got to do a meditation. And I did. And it was a guided one. I can't sit there in fucking silence. I'll kill somebody. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll fucking kill somebody. I've tried.
Really? You don't meditate?
All I do is get angry.
You do a different kind of meditation. Yeah.
But anyway, but the guided meditations I could totally do. I'm like, totally. But, I come out of it and I connected. My friend called me. Somehow he was able to call even though my phone was on Do Not Disturb. Anyway, but it saved me, right? And so then I was like, I felt normal. I felt better. I felt connected. And I do need to feel connected, and I need to be in touch with myself and other human beings. It's I think it's important for everybody for health purposes,
Yeah.
And so then I filmed myself, and I was alive. I was light, and it was fine. But before that, Joel, I was like, this is sickening. Who the fuck would do this shit? Why the fuck?
Yeah, I do that too. One of the things that I've really been working on lately, and I get this from sports, because football players in particular, and probably all sports, you have to get your head right, regardless of what kind of shape you're in, and regardless of how much practice you do. When you get into the game scenario, you have to get your head right, or you're going to lose. Yeah. Essentially, and if you don't, and if the guy across from you has got his head righter than yours, he's going to win. And so I look at people like Pete Carroll, the coach of the Seahawks, and Russell Wilson, and these guys that really, for some, like Russell Wilson, he just gets his head right, and the craziest, he's the best in the most stressful situations. He doesn't get down on himself. He never gets down. Those guys never hang their heads low. And as a comedian and in this industry, you got to do the same thing. You got to be able to just like bang. I'm gonna, bang this thing out, and I might be feeling this way. What do I need to do to get my head right? Because you like you said, like a guided meditation. I've been doing these Wim Hof breath exercises lately, which he says basically this guy Wim Hof, he takes cold showers and he does these breath exercises, right? Look him up. He's cool, but he does this breathing exercise, and you get kind of high afterwards. I think maybe you're hyperventilating, but you get kind of high, but it also puts you in kind of a good mood. So, but I mean, going outside can get you in a good mood. Sitting and meditating, doing some Tai Chi, watching your favorite program, whatever it is. Sometimes you just have to do the thing to get your head right, right? What was this thing? What was that?
Tai Chi.
Oh, that was your Tai Chi thing, yeah.
When I was studying Second City, I started at Second City Players Workshop, whatever. I started really young at like 15, and then I think by the time I was like 17, I was studying at Second City. And the teacher said I was so hyper, right? They wanted to kick me out of there. Yeah. They said you were too hyper and you need to take Tai Chi. Yeah. And I'd never heard of it before. And I was like, go fuck yourself. Tai Chi? That's stupid, Yeah. And I still haven't done it. I've done boxing and kickboxing, but I will not do Tai Chi.
I did Tai Chi a lot. I did it a lot because where I went to school.
You seem to like things that I hate.
And you hate it. You hate me so much. I gotta somehow get through to you.
No.
What?
I hate you?
Yeah, well, I thought that's what you said.
What'd you say?
I thought you said you hated me. Did you say that you hated me?
No.
I know you didn't.
No, I hate the things that you like yoga, meditation, Tai Chi, breathing.
I know.
I don't want to breathe, Joel. I don't want to do any breathing. I want to die now. No, I'm kidding.
It's overrated.
No, but
thing.
It's overrated.
It is.
No, but there's certain things that work for you. Like at nighttime, I'll try to because I have had insomnia most of my life. I know it's shocking. Yeah. And so lately I've been trying to put on instead of the news, I'll listen to this music. It says for bedtime, right? On YouTube. So it's and then I turn it on and it's and I'm like, what the fuck? And I lose my shit. And it irritates the shit out of me. And I tried to put one next to my phone, that Calm app. Do you know that Calm app?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I have that and I'll do on bedtime, it's supposed to help you. I'm like, I'm going to snap the thing's neck.
Yeah. It stresses me out. Sometimes.
Music. Turn it
off.
Or
it's raining. It's raining really hard. I'm like, I can't sleep. It's raining so hard. And then I wake up in the middle of the night. Oh my God, is it raining? And it's stressing me out. But I think the point is everybody's different. Everything calms people down in different ways. Yeah, sure. You know what I mean?
That's
so
right.
you can't necessarily, if somebody says, you got to meditate, it might not be the right thing for you at that particular moment. That might drive you totally off the edge. Forever. Yeah. So you got to find those things.
People always should. Yeah.
Sometimes it's good to make a list. Make a list. What are the things that make me calm, or what are the things that make me happy? That's always a good one.
Yeah. Happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Critical. Yeah.
Critical. What are the things that make me critical? No, I'm not going to do that.
What are the things
that make me critical? Make a list.
No. No, I said it's critical. Happiness is critical.
I love Skype.
That's what I said.
I love Skype because it's just, you can't understand what each other's saying.
That I'm saying all these horrible things.
You hate me. I'm too critical. Oh, God, that's Cynthia. I'm going to get off the line and be like, oh, that's Cynthia, man. She's really on my case.
Oh, man. I can't imagine that. Not even thinking it. Yeah.
All right. Well, what do you think? Is there a piece of advice that you could give comedians that are maybe just starting out? What would you say to somebody if they said, I'm just starting out, I want to be a comedian?
I think the comics that are just starting out don't need guidance, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think that they're so full of vim and vigor, and that, whatever, piss and vinegar or whatever you want to call it, that because you don't really have all the experiences to take you down yet, So I feel like people who are brand new just have fun.
Yeah.
And I think, but again, see, I did it a totally different way. Stand up for me saved my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I did have a rough time, and the only time I was happy was when I was prepping for a show and doing the show, and then after the show.
Yeah.
Every other moment, breath before that was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So comedy saved my life. So I never
Yeah.
used it as a way to be famous. I always used it because I loved it, you know, and I was able to express myself and whatever was going on with me. So I think everybody, but I would like to be successful, meaning I would like to be to like do a Netflix special, you know, myself. And I think that there's some people that go into stand up because they want to help them just, you know, to have a higher profile, to, you know, to do it for more people, for whatever your reasons are. And they're all fine. I think that just keep staying open, keep trusting yourself. Do keep challenging yourself. I think that's a really important thing to do no matter why you're doing anything. Mm-hmm. Keep challenging yourself. It'll keep you inspired. It will keep you growing. It'll keep you humble, but will also keep you agile, because what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to do all sorts of different types of shows for different types of people. So the more that you know who you are and the more you love yourself, the more comfortable you'll be in performing and connecting with different types of people from different, you know, parts of the world and different backgrounds and different experiences than you. And so because I always say that we are all the same, right? Mm-hmm. Like what's going on in the world right now is showing that we are all vulnerable human beings and we are all the same and we all deserve. And so, and no one is better or more deserving or more worthy than anybody else in the world. Mm-hmm. So, and if you can connect to more parts of you, and that is by paying attention to the parts of you that you resist, that you kind of go, oh, I hate that, or you look at other people and you go, I hate that, I hate when people do that, or I hate when that person wears that, or look at that part of you, because that's something you're not allowing for yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think we've got Trump in office, is because all those people that voted for him resent the people that they consider are the people that have things, that they get to have it, but I don't. Mm-hmm. And so then they become the bullies. That's how a bully is created. Mm-hmm. A bully is created by someone who doesn't feel like they're worthy, but other people are. So they bully the people that they think are so great. Oh, you think you're so great. And that's where that comes from, that energy, you know? Mm-hmm. So loving yourself, getting in touch with all parts of you by acknowledging parts of you that you or other people that you resist or reject, and paying attention, acknowledge it, feel it, love it. And then you have access to that as an actor and as a comic, so that you are more agile and you can grab that aspect of you when you need it and leave it alone when you don't, but love all parts of you. Yeah. And that's how you kind of can be free in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I find that also sometimes I have to do a little weeding. You know how like you have a garden and you have to do a little weeding to make the things grow? Sometimes I have to weed out some misconceptions that I have, or some things that are bouncing around in my head that are not helping me. I think that's why some people do meditation, is to just kind of weed out that stuff so that you... And I do find... Cynthia does a workshop on stand-up comedy that I just keep taking because it's so helpful for me to develop material. And then we do a showcase, and a lot of the people in the workshop are first-time comedians. And people that come, I have people come to my shows at the Comedy Store and all over the place. And a lot of them tell me that is the best show that I have seen all year, and I think a lot of it's because, like you say, these people, even if they're first-time comedians, they have a lot to say, first of all, because they haven't stood up at the microphone and said anything, a lot of them. And then they also, have so much energy and excitement about it. And it's so important and new to them that the show is just it's a blast. I mean, it's a blast. And nobody's really everybody's very much present in that show, because
everybody's
like, oh my God, is very present in the show. They're present in that moment because they think their life is in danger, perhaps. So the show went a little over time. I'm so glad to talk to you on here. I'd love to have you come on the show again sometime.
Great.
Cynthia is also going to be on the show with me. That's coming out tomorrow, apparently. The Tom Kearney's
also,
Quarantine. Yeah.
Yes, and then on Saturday night, live in the everywhere, but in Pacific time, it's at 8 p.m. It's a Laugh Out Proud show. It's a LGBTQ show for everybody, and hosted by Kim Diaz, my friend. It was hilarious, and Karen Renee. It's her birthday, but anyway, and Dana Eagle's on it. Adam Barnhart's on it, and Teddy Margrass is on it, and Mary Kennedy is on it. So anyway, that's Saturday night, and that's a live thing. And hopefully nobody will interrupt us on
a thing. You'll send me is there like a link or something?
Okay, I will. Okay, there is. And I just want to say to you and to everybody, I think the most important thing we could possibly do right now is to keep doing things and thinking about things that make you feel good, and you don't have to worry about the rest. And if we all do that, we're going to raise the level of energy and positivity in the world. And that's, don't get yourself sick. We don't need any more sick people.
No, we don't. All right. Thanks, Cynthia. I'm going to do the end of the show. And
okay, sorry.
Yeah, you should really apologize. Thanks so much for all your insights. I really appreciate it. There's great comments. I haven't read any of the comments. I mean, I've just seen them flash by, but people are really grateful for you. So thanks a lot. And we'll see you soon.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Okay. That's Cynthia Levin. And she obviously has a lot to offer. I'm hanging up on the Skype right now. So thanks, Cynthia, for being on the show. I don't know. That Skype thing, I'm still working with it. I think maybe I was looking off to I was looking away from her. I got to figure out a way to look at the person. These are all the weird things. I think my internet did okay. And thanks, everybody, for coming. And we'll see you. We're moving to a 5-day format, Monday through Friday at noon. This show will be happening. We're going to have interviews. We're going to have fun. And we're going to breathe a lot. So thanks for being here. And I'm going to roll it out with Boney.